It was a doozy. I mean, it's the number one rule in trail is to like never underestimate the course. And with like 800 feet of elevation gain, it's the easiest time to do that. But I still told myself, like, don't underestimate it. And like by the end, like those little tiny kickers are like definitely eating at you. But I just kept grinding. Would have liked to like see Christian a little bit in the latter stages of the race, but I'm glad we went 1-2. And yeah, I just executed the whole way. Just kept reminding myself to just stay on it. Don't like settle for second or the podium. Just keep fighting until you finish.
Well, it seemed like between you and Andy and Jonathan, there was a super tight battle for 2, 3, 4.
Totally.
And as we're joined by Jonathan Aziz.
Hey, Jonathan, how you doing?
It's my housemate this weekend.
Brought it back for the Ultra Sign Up Airbnb.
Yeah,
Right
the two of you were part of this furious battle for second, third, fourth. Like when you're in that heat of battle out there, I mean, when do you decide to burn the match, or do you realize maybe it was potentially past the point where you could do so? Like,
I'll let you go.
Sure, yeah. I started off a little bit further back, I think.
Yeah.
Starting the climb, sat in 7th. Took a couple minutes to get past a couple of juniors, and then didn't really get Andy and Liam insights till like 2 1/4 in, and then it was just like a 3-mile grind. My play was low and slow, and it ultimately got me up to Andy, but not quite to Liam. So I was trying to, just like play a little bit over a long time, because I think a quick burst would have just knocked me out.
Yeah, because they were a pair, and they had you by probably like 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. And then there was this little switchbacky section we caught on the drone, and you could definitely see him there, and you could see you kind of creeping back up.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, with how squirrely the trail is in these sorts of races, like the moves you put on, like whether it's like a real move or like what runners call like fake moves of just like a surge just to like boost your own confidence or ego or whatever it is, like those actually are pretty powerful, because if you surge around a corner, the person doesn't know you surged, that was trailing you, and then next thing they know, you've got another 5 steps behind them. So there's a lot of like small tactics versus like larger strategy that play into the race. Obviously fitness prevails, like Christian just running away from the field, but in that chase pack there was a lot of like mental tactics that I think played out into the way I raced it.
Jonathan, you are more known, I at least from where I'm familiar with you, at the marathon distance. Do you think that you simply just ran out of real estate in order to run the front guys down there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it would have served me well if it was a little bit longer.
Like if it was an 11K, we're talking a completely different situation.
No, absolutely. And that's, I mean, I tried to say it was my strategy to go out slow at the beginning, but frankly, just like keeping up, I'd have been anaerobic really quickly, and I've messed up a couple of times racing like that. So.
Had you guys been here to Bentonville before?
First time.
Yes, I have been. I went to school at OU, so
okay.
Came to Fayetteville a lot in college, and was up here for a bachelor party last year. So
what were the conditions like out there? We've heard about the leaves and the roots and the mountain bike structures with the wooden platforms and stuff. Like, was that some kind of a new experience?
Yeah, for sure. I think the bridges, certainly. Everything else is very familiar. I grew up upstate New York, and we have a lot of high school cross-country races in terrain like this. Maybe not as rocky, but very similar to training outdoors upstate New York.
Right on.
it was. I mean, I'll give it to Arkansas. It was definitely like gnarly trails for Arkansas, but like on the spectrum, there's just such a variety of different sorts of trails, and like the running over the mountain bike features was definitely fun. Like I smiled a couple times. Like,
did you?
There was one where you're like 5 feet off the ground, and Andy took a wrong turn. I think you maybe took a wrong turn too going into that last little obstacle. Like Andy tried.
No, I kept it. Yeah, Andrew tried missing.
Yeah, we saw some people like you're supposed to climb up it, and this
Yeah.
dude was just like cutting to the left.
Totally.
That's unfortunately right where I passed Andy.
Yeah.
Welcome to the.
Hey,
the
Christian.
Now we're joined by Christian Allen, the
Hey, thanks for having
champion, the defending champion, now 2-time champion of the USATF 10K championships. Congratulations.
Hey, thanks for having me out here. It's been awesome.
You took it out from the gun. Was that your plan?
That's what I like to do. Inject a little fuel in it. And just see what happens.
So last year you ran this race in about 38 flat. This time it looked like it was about 36:40, 30. You know, was it? Are you just faster now, or was there something that enabled you to knock about 80 seconds off from last year's performance?
Yeah, I think a little mix of both. Most of the course is the same. They did change a little bit of the end, which I think the end is not quite as technical. There's not quite as many rocky parts, if I'm remembering correctly. I do think you climb a little bit more in where they had to, correct the routing of it, just because you go up to the top of that gazebo and then down. But I do think you kind of cut off a few switchbacks when you're bombing down, so you can go a little faster. But I do feel like I'm in really good shape. I'm building up for a half marathon and marathon build right now, and just been working the speed real well, and I think it plays really well to a course like this. So.
Hey, Christian, you've had an amazing year this year. You've basically come in and winning half marathons and now winning here at the 10K. How would you say your year went overall? Was this a perfect cap off to what seems to be an extremely successful season?
Yeah, I think it's been good. I've had some ups and downs. I think compared to my rookie year last year, I think I was on a really good streak. I really didn't. Not that winning and losing is like how I kind of grade myself on success, but I feel like last year I really didn't have many bad races, and maybe they weren't quite as high of high quality races the other performers I was going against, because this year I've gone against some really top international level. But I've had a few races where I just dealt with some really bad nausea, so I've been trying to figure that out. Luckily in these shorter races it doesn't really hinder me. But I just had an unfortunate race at OCC and a few Golden Trail races where for some reason my nausea and side stitches have really kind of bothered me. But overall, I think I'm pretty happy with how the season's gone. I think there's been an added level of maybe some pressure at times being a professional athlete this year. And last year was really fun just kind of being like the underdog and kind of be like, well, no one really knows who I am. Let's just go have fun. I know I'm just as good as everyone else. So I think kind of taking the professional realm and just being like, hey, let's have fun. Don't put too much pressure on it. You're the same athlete you were last year. But it's been a good experience, and I've really enjoyed the support of Nike, and it's been a great first year.
I want to ask all three of you guys kind of like a bigger picture question related to what Ultra Sign-Up's doing here, and maybe what many of us hope is kind of a more evolved future direction of the sport, and that's the prize purse. I mean, I think you guys know it's a pretty nice prize purse for the three of you. You're going to go home with a little bit extra money in your pocket, but it's also been done in a way, crowdsourced through donations and so on and so forth. And money motivates us all in different ways, but you gotta. I guess I'll start with you, Christian, because you won. Was that in your head at all? Like, hey, I'm gonna get out of here with a little bit of money. And what do you think? What would you like to see as a rising professional in the sport in that regard?
Yeah, prize money is always an added bonus for sure. I mean, it's not the driving force of why I do running, but having 3 kids and trying to buy a house here in the economy in Utah is a little rough, so we're always trying to get as much money as we can wherever we can. So it's great to do that, but more than anything, I think the money just drives more competition, which I love. I just love having great competitors, quality events, and Bentonville and Dirt Circus has done a phenomenal job at this. That's why I've really loved the race the last 2 years, and I plan to continue to keep coming back. It's kind of the cap off to my trail season before I get into a roadblock, and the community out here is awesome, and yeah, I just love the overall quality that it brings to the races. So,
how about you, Jonathan? You
Sure,
get more
yeah.
money winning this than Pikes?
Not for third place, but for the win. And yeah, I guess if we really try to snowball it on social media and get people to donate, then absolutely it could be more rewarding. But I think I'll share my personal story. This is a bonus race for me because I was going to end at Pikes and just kind of take a break, but they shortened the race. I was like, I saw this on the calendar. And I think inside of 24 hours after messaging the team, like, hey, you got any help for elites? Like, I had a flight ticket that was reimbursed to me already. I had a place to stay. So it's, mitigating that risk you have to get yourself out to the race to even compete for it. So that was really a big deal for me.
That is great. That's great to know. So you made a somewhat last-minute decision, got in touch with the folks at Ultra Sign Up, and got a flight, a place to stay.
Yep.
And
Yeah. So even if I come up short, like it's not a big delta.
That's the kind of race support I think we need more of.
Yep.
How about you, Liam?
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about this a lot. This is kind of what a lot of people in the sport, both athletes, race organizers, race directors, are thinking about, of like, how do we grow the sport? How do we provide more financial benefit to these athletes who are just as talented as any professional sports league. And huge shout out, lots of kudos to Mountain Outpost, you guys, Ultra Sign Up, City of Bentonville, Rush Running Co., Nike Running, for like taking a risk on doing this, because we all know that putting a 10K prize purse in Bentonville in October is a risk. And I just really hope people are watching us talk right now, people review this and take advantage of this sort of thing in the future, and other race organizers implement this, because this is so beautiful. This sport is so badass, and more people, more runners, more athletes, more people who like me weren't making it on the track can come out to the trails and have success. And there's so much beauty in running and so much to uncover. And so thank you for setting the bar where it really should be right now.
Well, I have to confess, this is the first time I've really watched a high-level, shorter distance race. And watching runners such as yourselves at an elite level with such a dynamic feel to the race with this beautiful backdrop was an absolute pleasure. So thanks to all of you for making this, for my first time covering a race of this distance, an absolute pleasure. All of you were just, such a joy to watch. That leg turnover that you don't normally see when we're watching and covering things like 50 milers, 100 milers.
We're used to talking for days.
Yeah.
Not just
we
minutes.
had to be very concise and boom, 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 nail and identify everybody. So, it was an absolute pleasure for us, at least on our end.
Oh, yeah.
So
Cool. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a
man,
lot,
it's
you
been a
guys.
blast.
Go get drug
Appreciate it,
tested.
guys.
yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, they've got to go to doping control. I think their chaperones are waiting for you.
We get doping control on trail too. Don't forget.
There you go.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Take care, guys. Thanks a lot. You got it.